Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Hello. It is not Tuesday. It isn't even Wednesday. It is Thursday, and here we are live. So the holidays, of course, threw a monkey wrench into everything, and here we are. So if you're not here, I do hope you watch this show, the recording of the show, because it's kind of an important one. It's definitely a needle mover. There's my friend Jocelyn. Hello, nice to have you here, Jocelyn. Tell everybody else to get on over here. I left a note over in the Hot Melt Sprint group, so I should have probably put it other places. Anyway, this is kind of a weird week. We have the week between Christmas and New Year's, and everybody's thinking about New Year's resolutions. Hopefully they're more or less looking at goals as well, which I think that's the needle mover. Honestly, I think New Year's resolutions are kind of a mistake because they don't really do the job. I don't know how many people have ever said, here are my New Year's resolutions from last year, and oh, look, check, 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 check. It just doesn't happen. But do you know what the top 3 New Year's resolutions are? Let's see if you know. Make a guess. Well, the first one is lose weight and get fit and eat healthier. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is to save more money. And number 3 is to eat at home more. Did you know that? Well, Dinner Answers is the answer to that one. And we are in our 23rd year, y'all. I think it's 23. Wait, 25, 21. Actually, we're going into our 24th year. If you can believe that. We're going into our 24th year. Dinner Answers is the original menu planning system that I put together. There's a whole story behind it. If you're getting our emails, you can see the story. I'm telling the story of how it came to be. It started out as Menu Mailer and then later on became Dinner Answers. Everybody was duplicating our system and everybody was calling their system also Menu Mailer, even though I would email them and say, hey, we are Menu Mailer. Name your thing something else. It's confusing. Anyway, that was when I was, kind of getting into the whole protective thing about people are copying me. Oh, well, it happens, it happens all the time. And I just let it go and changed it to Dinner Answers, I think like in 2012, 13, something like that. But anyway, 2001 is when we started, and there's a whole story behind it. And if you're getting our emails, then you know all about it. Go to savingdinner.com / show. That's where you're going to get a deal on Dinner Answers. Hey, Tanya, good to have you here. I'm glad you're here. Today's show is going to be fire, so it's going to be fun. I take notes, by the way, or at least get tomorrow's show notes because there's going to be some good stuff. So Dinner Answers is normally $97. It's $47. So it's like, that is a big deal. And I really want to see people get this. I don't care if there's just one of you there. It adjusts and you get the menus every single Tuesday. And we've been doing this faithfully and have never, ever, ever missed a week or been late. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? I don't remember. It's so automatic now. I don't even pay attention to what happens because I just know it's going out. It used to be a thing where, my whole week was built on getting that thing out and creating those menus Tuesday mornings. Okay, I was right. Yeah. So a lot of things happen on Tuesdays. You get your menus and you get your show, usually live. But anyway, I just strongly advise you to get this, because if there's one thing that's going to save you money, save you time, save your waistline, that's knowing what to eat. And that's making sure that you're getting the food that you need in the way that you need it. And that's what Menu Mailer does, or Dinner Answers, whatever you want to call it. Remember, recipes, menus, shopping list, the whole bit. So it's $47. That's a screaming deal. Grab it. The other thing that I want you to grab too is our new Take Back Your Life journal. This is all new, revamped, pared down, put together. And there's a reason why we did it like this. And you're going to find out next week why when I tell you what we've got cooking. Right now, Jenny and I have been working very hard in the Saving Dinner Lab, shall we say, of something brand new that we're pretty excited about and stoked for. So wait till you see what's happening with that. SavingDinner.com/journal will get you the PDF. And you can also then, if you decide you want a hard copy of it, you can do that. And my copy is in the mail. I will show it to you next week. Okay. I love this because it's getting to the meat of the matter of things and really making sure that you are tracking and staying on top of what it is that you're trying to do. It pairs beautifully, by the way, with our new Rising Tide, which is coming, right? The Rising Tide. The Rising Tide is our goal setting class. And I'm telling you, you got to get into it. That's going to be starting, I believe, in 2 weeks. And it's getting your goals really focused on and created and in your life daily, because that's kind of the secret. And we have the secret sauce to that. So check that out. You can go to savingdinner.com/rise. That's where you're going to find the Rising Tide, and you can get signed up for that. Strong recommendation that you do that. So you got the journal, you got the Rising Tide, and then there's the Vision Board Workshop. That's happening Saturday, January 4th. It's a 2-hour workshop. It will be live on Crowdcast. You know how we do our Hot Melt Sprint webinars there? Same platform. And I'm going to do a small teaching on what it's all about. And then I'm going to show you my vision board, which is almost done, and reveal a little bit what all went into it and how and why I did the vision board the way that I did. Now, you probably won't finish your vision board in the 2 hours that we have, because you're not going to be able to cut and paste and glue it all together, but you are going to walk away from that vision board exercise and workshop with the tools and the know-how on how to put your vision board together so that it serves you and it helps you to purpose what you want done in your life. I find them to be extraordinarily powerful, but I'm a visual learner. I like to see visions of things. And this is just how I roll. So savingdinner.com/vision. We still have room for you. And I'd like to see you there. And then don't forget, we always have the sprint webinars. And our first sprint's going to be coming up. So that's savingdinner.com/sprint webinar. That's going to be on Monday, December 30th. I think it's important. We got to do a cleanup from all this seasonal goodies. You wouldn't believe the garbage that I've been. Oh my goodness. And I've been eating some of it too. I just feel like, ugh. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to tell you is I might be doing a polar plunge right off my dock here with some other crazy people on January 1st. And you know why? Because why not? Right? That's how crazy I am. All right, the quote of the day, the quote of the week. This is a good one. Deepak Chopra. He's unpacking it. You must find the place inside you where nothing is impossible. And boy, does that ever dovetail into today's show. Okay, I can't wait to share all of this with you because so many juicy tidbits here. So there's this guy, his name is Brian Ridgway, and he wrote a book called Your New Beginning, 5 Keys to Getting What You Want. No, I haven't read it at all. But what I did see was an ad on Facebook about that. I saw the testimonials of what he said, and I was really impressed with the fact that this guy was suicidal. He's homeless. His life was a mess. And he had spent a ton of money on all these self-help books and seminars, webinars, name that tune. And then he finally figured some things out. And within 90 days, he was living in Hawaii and living his dream life. Now, that's pretty cool to go from this place of just absolute bottom to living in a place that was dream, right? It's a dream. So what happened? What was the magic sauce in it? And this is what got me, and this is what made me kind of do a little bit of a dive on this. And yes, I've ordered this guy's book. I'm going to read it. But this is the thing that I thought was just so interesting. He calls it spell breaking. And when I think about things that hold us back, and I think about the limiting beliefs that we have and all the rest of it, it is being under a spell. And if you think about what is a spell, well, witches cast spells and all of that, but it's hypnotic. It is putting you and casting you under something that isn't true and maybe not part of your control. And it's something that maybe we're believing, even though it's not something that we want. And I thought spell breaking was such a good way to put it because, one of the things that, one of my things that I've learned this year, I think really well, is that our thoughts aren't necessarily the truth. We just think these things and then therefore we decide that they're true or not. And that kind of puts us in an omnipotent kind of a place. I used to have a girlfriend who said, oh, she, it was kind of annoying, who she said, well, I prayed for this and I got, it's because I prayed for this. So she had this idea that she was all powerful with her prayers always being answered and, lining up and all of that. And if things didn't happen the way that she prayed, then she was like completely distraught. And I was like, is that really how God works? I don't think so. But anyway, sorry, that was just a little off topic. But I love what this is because spell breaking is the act of dismantling the unconscious spells or the false narratives that keep us stuck. And we do have these false narratives. And the problem is that we believe them. The problem is that we believe the lie of maybe some trauma from our childhood or an event that happened that has affected us in a certain way. And we don't take the time to dismantle this stuff. And we don't take the time to look at it or even notice it or are aware of the fact that we're believing lies, Limiting beliefs limit the perspective of what it is that we see. They turn on the reticular activating system, and then that narrows it even further. Think about that. It's really interesting because so many times, a lot of the stuff, the guise in which we operate and the things that we do are motivated from fear, shame, unworthiness, thinking that we're not enough. And what does that do except dictate our thoughts and our actions and yes, finally, our results. So Tanya, you're here. So I'm going to use you as an example because this is a really good one. She just posted recently about, her enormous weight loss. Now, that weight loss happened not because she had the perfect diet. It's because she started to believe in herself and her ability to do this work and letting go of old past beliefs that it was too hard, to this, to that, because it is the mindset that switches and flips the switch for everything. It turns on all the positive chemicals. I just saw another a video talking about that one of the scientific discoveries this year in 2024 of how our bodies produce what they call hope molecules in our muscles when they're activated. This is why sitting on your can is depressing all day long. And you got to go out there and flex those muscles and use those muscles if you want to turn these hope molecules on. We have a whole chemistry lab inside of us. And there are ways to flip the switches of those chemicals to have them work in our favor, or we can turn them off and have them not work in our favor. We just need to know how to do it. We have to know where the switches are. So when I tell you that your switches are there in your muscles, and if you flex them, working out, walking even, and lifting weights and whatever it is that you'll do, the endorphins are going to flame up and make you feel good. They're going to help you and alter your mood, alter the depressive state, alter your depression. Isn't that so cool? So we know about this. We know about these hope molecules that are inside of us and inside of our muscles. We know that our body is constantly adjusting and changing our chemistry inside depending on the levers and buttons that we're pushing. That's so cool. And so when we learn how to push these right buttons, then we can start fixing things that are no longer working for us, right? That's cool. But the second part of it is this huge piece of this is the mindset. This mindset that we are under a spell that is keeping us hostage to situations and old thoughts and, stuff that we just don't want. But when we break these spells, that puts us in a place of dissolving these feelings of lack and limitation and thinking that we just don't have it in us and it's just not for us and blah, blah, blah. You know the dialogue. And it aligns our mindset instead with abundance and possibilities, solutions, love, joy, all the good stuff. And it also helps us to access inside of us the unlimited potential that is there. Every single one of us on this planet was born with unlimited potential. We were. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. That's why I always say that you're fearfully and wonderfully made and you're here on purpose and for purpose at this time. And understanding and realizing that, and then also bringing into this whole idea that somebody, something, an experience, or a multitude of different things like that have impinged and rained on your parade and brought in all those limitations with them and made you think that this is all there is for you. And that's just not true. Now, this guy, of course, I am going to read this book, and it will probably be in our book club, by the way. We're going to be having a membership for that. I'll tell you all about that later. Not now, later. Jenny's like, don't do it. Yes, later, Jenny, I promise. But let's look at the 5 keys of spell breaking, because I think this has something that we can all use. Very useful information. First of all, we have to identify limiting beliefs. Did somebody tell you couldn't do it? Did somebody say you weren't smart enough? Did somebody shame you into shutting up and putting up? Did they? These are limiting beliefs. Find your voice again. Stop putting up with stuff that you wouldn't put up with. You put up with stuff from yourself, but you wouldn't put up from another person. That's because of limiting beliefs. We believe that we need to endure sometimes things that are just wrong. And this idea that you're not good enough or success isn't meant for you is completely wrong. And we have to start journaling our way out of this, saying affirmations, etc., because this is how we get away from it. But we also need to bring them to light, and we need to recognize them and see them and call them out for what they are. Untruths. It's not true. Otherwise, you would not be here, my friend. Isn't that, if we really follow the logic of just our mere existence, then we have to wiggle our way out of the shame umbrella. Because a lot of us are living with that and have endured that for so long. It's just not right. And the next thing is if we are going to be manifesting this life that we want to live and have that vision of it on our vision board and what have you, we have to adjust our identity. Because it is when you start to take on an identity that you're not even yet, it's like I went through a good 2 years of I am an athlete before I finally believed it. 2 years. But I needed that exercise in shifting my identity. And so do you. Because when we shift our identity, we start to walk differently and become something else. Different words come out of our mouths, right? One of the things I just did a video on TikTok on how I saw myself as an athlete after I saw myself as enjoying a sport. And then suddenly everything aligned with this sport so that I could support the sport. Go ahead and say that 5 times fast. Why am I weightlifting? Why do I spend so much time on my shoulders? It's not so I can have great looking shoulders when I wear a tank top. It's so I don't injure myself, right? And you don't do one without the other. So you're working really hard on those shoulders. That's what I do. I've seen way too many people who've had shoulder injuries. So I identify myself as an athlete, and athletes play sports, and athletes also eat for their sport. They sleep for their sport. They hydrate for their sport. They lift weights for their sport. This is what they do. And this is how we create the identity, by doing the things that that person would do. Now, I am is a powerful statement, but I am becoming an athlete is the thing that finally pushed me over the edge and got me into the athlete department. Do you see what I'm saying? Because sometimes saying I am and just looking, going, yeah, right, you're an athlete, doesn't work. But I am becoming because of what I'm doing. Make sense? You got to get the alignment up there. And then the other thing is this one I think is so good, and that is practicing radical presence. You know how hard that is? We're always thinking about the past or the future, but are we sitting in the present and really embracing it? Are we? I have to work on that every single flippin' day, because I want to look at something from the past and relive it, and that's not helpful. And I want to also look to the future and start wringing my hands. Is this going to work? Is this what I need to do? But if we can be in the presence, I believe that's when we're fully connected to not only ourselves, but to God. This is all we have is today. All we have is now. So we break free then from the emotional weight of the past and the anxiety of the future when we are present. How many times have we heard that? But how often are we practicing it? That's one of the reasons why I love gratitude walks. My gratitude walks force presence. My gratitude walks make me stop and look and see and feel and be about, rather than wringing my hands or bringing up a past thing and maybe I should have said this instead of that. No, there's too much going on in our heads, I believe, because we just allow our thoughts to run rampant. They're like stampeding buffalo. What good are they doing? There's a guy named Mo Gawat, I think is his name. He's an Egyptian guy who his whole life changed after he lost his 21-year-old son. His 21-year-old son had just a routine appendectomy. It went wrong, and he died in his father's arms. And what he noticed, he calls his brain Becky, by the way, which I thought was interesting how we name our amygdalas. And what he noticed was that focusing on the presence, when his brain goes back and pulls on him to go back to that moment when his son died in his arms, he says, I know that, Becky. I know all about that feeling. I've been there. But it isn't that Ali was his son's name, died. It's that he also lived. And then he starts going through the moments, the treasured moments that he had with his son. And that's a dramatic example. But the presence is so important. And I think being mindful and using meditation and breath work to bring us back to that place of presence is just of utmost importance. And then we also have to focus on our inner states. What's going on? Again, if we just don't notice or aren't aware of our internal state, we can't shift it. It's just like the same old chaos over and over and over again. And it's our thoughts, it's our feelings, it's the emotional whatever, it's the energy or lack thereof. But all of this is creating a ripple effect and is showing up in our lives as our reality, right? So we have to lose that. There's a mantra we can use: as within, so without, right? This is critical. And these are the things that we need to start looking at and being very aware of. And then, well, of course, you can't have any of this without taking inspired action from all of the above, you know? And you know what's interesting is that you become more aligned, more intuitive, and more like, I'm going to allow for this flow and this understanding, and the solutions will come to me. And we're less about the hand wringing of the how. So there's science all behind this, by the way. And it's because this aligns with your neuroplasticity, because your brain can rewire, but it needs new information to rewire. So if we can put the stuff on repeat that we want into our lives, we can start literally changing the way we think and rewiring our brain and getting new neural pathways going on in our head, which is enormously cool. And then we can also flick on the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system can work for your good or for the worst possible outcome in your life. What switch are you going to use? Which one do you want to do? You can train your reticular activating system to look for solutions, for opportunities, and to believe that they're out there just as much as when you turn on your reticular activating system because you're looking for a new car and suddenly you see them all on the road. That's the same thing. And when you do and decide, hey, I'm going to look for new opportunities, your reticular activating system will say, okay, let's go, let's do it. Or you can look at the problems and, woe is me stuff, which will get you nothing. And then we have to address the fact that we all have this emotional garbage inside of us. We do. We've got to address it. We've got to release it. We've got to free ourselves from all the stuff that triggers us. And we do it with our journaling, with our meditation, with our good gratitude practices. We do it with a counselor, maybe, whatever it takes, we do the work. And when we do the work, we get the results. And if you don't like the results that you currently have, then it's time to do the work on all of this. So the first thing, if you're going to do this spell breaking in your life, what are you going to do? One, you're going to be aware. If you can identify just one belief or a spell, if you will, that this has been holding you back, that's a start. And that is a great start. So start there, journal about it. And then number two, reflect upon it, because you could say, well, so where did that belief come from? And has that shaped how my life is, going and the way the type of results that I'm getting? Ask yourself the hard questions. Journal about them, talk about them with a trusted friend. But this is how we get to the place of dismantling this stuff. And then, of course, there's always things that we can replace. When we start having these negative thoughts, we can replace that limiting belief with an empowering affirmation. We can. So, I'll never be successful. I can never do this. This is way too hard. It's way over my head. All these kind of things. You can say instead, I am capable of creating X, Y, and Z in my life. I'm capable because I'm here on purpose. I'm here for purpose. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And I'm supposed to be here now in this time continuum. That's powerful. Start doing that and replacing the garbage with that. And then mindfulness practices, of course, you know what mindfulness is? It's just simply being aware and noticing and calling out the stuff that you don't want and putting in the stuff that you do. And meditation and mindfulness, these practices do that. They're free. Why don't we do that? Why don't we do the free stuff that will change everything? This little bit of work is worth it. And after a while, it doesn't even feel like work. It just feels like something that you do. And it aligns you and gives you peace and helps you to have that flow. And then the visualization part. Hello, we're doing a vision workshop, y'all, on January 4th. If you're not coming, I'm sorry, but why? Why? This is how we put our goals in a visual place. This is how we get the things that we want in our lives. It works. My house is because of my vision board, right? There's a lot more to it, and I'm going to tell that story, and I'm going to give you a whole teaching on it on Saturday, January 4th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then you're going to create the most incredible vision board and create the best life ever. Why not? Isn't that what you want for 2025? That's what I want. So this idea of spell breaking, I don't know. It's not adding more to your to-do list or chasing external validation. It's realizing and recognizing that you, with all the stuff that you're dealing with, still have limitless potential inside of you. It's the truth, or you would not be here. I say that over and over again, but if we understood the enormity of that, then we would operate differently. We would see the wonder that's in our lives and in our life. And I want you to think about, if you've had children and you've watched them crawl and walk, and the wonder of it all is that same wonder in you all these years later. We just need to rediscover it. So it's a shift in perspective for sure. It's a shift to spell break and to find yourself in this place of doing something completely different and aligning your perspective with the things that you want instead of getting all the garbage. It's about having the life that you've dreamed about and then expecting to get it and then doing the work to get it and allowing the flow to happen in your life so that it comes to you the way it's supposed to. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. I just thought, and definitely go check out the show notes. I just thought this idea of breaking the spell was something worth looking at, because if that's what's holding you back and this mindset that's just not serving you at all, it's time to really give it a big fat look under the microscope and fix it. And you can. And we've got all the tools. So check out all the announcements and get with it. And I sure hope I'm going to see all of you at the Vision Board Workshop, because that is going to be juicy and yummy. That's all. That's all I have for you. The next time I see you, no, it'll be on Monday. We're doing Monday, right, Jenny? We're doing a Monday show. And I really, really want you to be there, because that's going to also be a launch pad for the Vision Board Workshop. Just saying. Thanks for showing up today. I appreciate you all. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.